Me, Jim Jones, myself. Gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
So I don't have much to say about it because I don't believe that Jim Jones believes that he's a better rapper than Nas.
Let me ask you something. How can a man shout "We fly high" for 20 years and still never take off? How can a rapper with million-dollar chains, reality TV fame, and Harlem roots still be treated like the intern of his own movement? Because tonight, we're diving deep into the mystery of Jim Jones, the man hip-hop tolerated, but never truly respected. Yeah, I said it. You think you know why? Think again. See, while the culture was busy crowning legends like Jay, Nas, and Cam, Jimmy was somewhere in the background yelling capo, like the title came with a pension plan. But behind the shades, behind the Gucci scarves, and behind that Harlem bravado lies a truth the industry's been whispering for years. Truth darker than Dipset's mixtape covers, and more twisted than one of Jim's interviews. After 3 shots of Henny, because, what if I told you the problem wasn't just the music? What if I told you the streets, the same ones he claims to run, never believed the hype?
2025, I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap circles around.
You smoke, right?
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit. Well, as far as, let's get this right. I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody.
Hype. What if all the talk about loyalty, brotherhood, and hustle was just another shiny facade? Tonight, we're not just talking rap beefs and chart stats, we're talking betrayal, image, manipulation, and a man who's been fighting for validation longer than some rappers have been alive. Buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal might just change how you see Jim Jones forever. Everybody knows Jim Jones came up in Harlem as part of Dips, the crew that set the early 2000s on fire with Cameron and Juelz Santana leading the charge. Pink furs, flashy cars, private jets, and a swagger that made New York feel like their personal playground. But while Cam was building an empire and Juelz was blazing as the young star, Jim was the hype man, the muscle, the guy making the words hit with pressure. And that worked for a while, until ego crept in and suddenly he was calling himself the capo, claiming he ran Dipset, acting like he was untouchable. But the streets were not buying it, and the first cracks appeared in lavish spending that shocked even his own crew, with stories of 6-figure splurges on watches, chains, mystery trips, while supposedly running label business that barely stayed afloat, managers ghosted, artists left unpaid, and parties so—
Look, no disrespect to Jim, but Jim's not even close. Shit Jim says doesn't even make sense compared to what Nas has done for our culture.
Yeah. So massive the NYPD was circling like sharks smelling blood. And one anonymous source supposedly said he treated money like Monopoly cash, fun to play with but never to take seriously, while rumors of shady deals with sketchy record execs added more tension, and the public side of the scandal was even worse as interviews where he bragged about being Harlem's last real street general backfired. Every boast met with people ready to pull receipts. One viral clip showed him shouting about being fearless, while an anonymous insider alleged he called someone for backup. During a real confrontation in Brooklyn, memes exploded, rappers laughed, and social media mocked him mercilessly with comments calling him Cable TV Street instead of Harlem Street. And inside Dipset, the fallout was even more dramatic, with former collaborators questioning his leadership. Stories of fights over money, alleged betrayal, secret side deals, all painting a picture of a man who talked loyalty but acted out of self-interest. One crew member supposedly saying he always wanted to be the face of the movement without doing the dirty work. Cam made it happen. Jim just showed up in Gucci. And by—
I never needed nowhere to stay. You act like on your couch. You was a fan. You begged us. You are a fan. A fan. We didn't grow up with you.
And by this point, it was clear that Jim was caught in a web of his own making, because ego, flashiness, and ambition collided with reality while the streets never forget. Reputation in hip-hop isn't built in interviews or magazine covers. It's forged in authenticity, surviving the trenches, proving yourself when the cameras are off. And every time Jim tried to flex his authority, the culture saw through it, noticing a man trying to claim a throne he didn't earn. A man surviving the storm but never fully owning it. And that tension between surviving and being respected is exactly where Jim Jones began to stumble, and the whispers started multiplying, the stories building, the narrative twisting into one where money and fame could not cover the cracks in credibility, and the first seeds of doubt about his place in hip-hop's real hierarchy were planted, and nobody could ignore them. As the years went by, Jim Jones tried to reinvent himself, jumping into reality TV, podcasts, and fitness content. But every move only amplified the cracks that had been forming. Every interview, every dramatic TV moment with Chrissy Lep, every public dispute became another layer in the story of a man whose image could never quite match his reality. And while fans praised his work ethic, the streets were quietly shaking their heads, watching a man play at the game he claimed to run while younger Harlem artists like A Boogie, Fivio Foreign, and Pop Smoke carried the torch with fresh voices and real stories. And even musically, Jim seemed frozen in a time capsule, recycling early 2000s bravado while the culture around him evolved, trying to remind the world of his glory days while simultaneously looking desperate for validation. And then there were the public beefs that made him a viral spectacle, the social media calls-outs, the subliminal shots at younger rappers, all attempts to assert dominance, but instead exposing a man still chasing the respect he never fully earned. And the stories that circulated about selective loyalty and moments when things got dangerous only added to the narrative, with rumors of him stepping back when situations became serious, and even notorious incidents like Tekashi 69's legal troubles supposedly putting Jim in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, fueling speculation that he wasn't as untouchable as he claimed, and the legacy of those moments lingered, creating a perception that fame and visibility could not substitute for credibility. Because in hip-hop, respect is not given for longevity alone. It is earned in the trenches, in the corners, in real-life tests of courage and loyalty, and every misstep, every exaggeration, every moment caught on camera.
I'm all for new and change, but I'm not for riding the coattail of and then getting to a place and trying to stun on the you was riding the whole time. I don't like that.
Caught on camera chipped away at Jim's street reputation, while his business ventures and label efforts showed he could survive but never fully thrive. As a figure of authentic influence, and even within Harlem, old friends and collaborators would quietly point out that he was connected, but never the one calling the shots when it mattered. The man who survived by being flashy, loud, and persistent but never by being fundamentally feared or revered. And critics both inside and outside the industry noted that Jim Jones became a symbol of working hard without the kind of authenticity that turns artists into legends. And while he could headline shows, sell albums, and keep his name buzzing in media cycles, the intangible crown of respect from peers, from the streets, and from the culture itself remained elusive, because true influence in hip-hop is measured not by numbers or TV appearances.
I'm playing at a high level.
Hey,
You better check my record, you heard?
jumping up and
I'm still playing
you
at
need
a
to
high
go back
level.
and get Jada. Jada
I'm
done
rapping.
whooped y'all.
I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will
we
run
not
circles
denying
around
that.
Nas.
Jim Jones has 9 entries in the Billboard 200 with 3 top 10 albums and no number ones, while Nas has 27 entries, 16 top 10 albums, and 6 that have reached number 1 on the Billboard
Appearances, but by how deeply your name resonates when the cameras are off. And despite all of his effort, all of his hustle, all of his attempts to cement his image, Jim Jones remains a cautionary tale of fame without foundation, of a man who made it, who survived, but who in the eyes of the culture and the streets never fully earned the throne he claimed. So now I have to ask you, after everything we just laid out, what do you really think about Jim Jones? Is he the Harlem Capo he claims to be, or just a survivor of his own hype? A man who outlasted the storm but never owned it? Are we watching a legend, or a cautionary tale of fame without foundation, of ego without authenticity, of someone who traded
Jimmy popping all that bullshit. I be seeing you, Jimmy, talking about we Gucci boo boo. He in the Gucci store. Talking about we Gucci boo boo. Them Black King niggas was going up. Jimmy, they was like, Marita Moneda.
I definitely believe there's more to this story because Jim Jones is way smarter than that. And
yeah, you know, I don't know what's going on.
I've been in those situations where you in the car with somebody and somebody finds some drugs and nobody wants to claim anything until you get to the police station, and then the person who it was like, it's mine. And then
respect for relevance. Think about it. Every chain, every interview, every reality show, every so-called comeback, none of it can erase the whispers, the viral moments, the moments where the streets shook their heads and said, that's not Capo, that's Cable. And this isn't just about Jim Jones. It's about the culture itself. About how hip-hop separates the icons from the imitators. The builders from the followers. The ones who earn crowns from the ones who chase them. So I want you to weigh in. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if this blew your mind. Subscribe to catch every deep dive we're bringing to the surface. And share this with anyone who still thinks flashing money equals real respect. Because the truth behind the glitz, the hype, And the Gucci is far more shocking than anything you've seen online, and trust me, we're just scratching the surface of stories the mainstream won't touch. Stories that expose what really happens when street cred and celebrity collide.